Welcome to Base Day F. I'm sociologist Ashley Frawley. If you listen to me over at Sublation Media, you know that I've been writing for a while on MAGA communism. It's got to be one of the most difficult articles I've ever produced because the founder...
وجه رسالة واحدة للعالم كله وللمسائل اللي برا اللي قاعدين على كرسي مريح وأريح من الراحة. انتوا ليش بتعملوا فينا زي هيك؟ أنا طفل خسة يصير أقع تحت دمار هذا طفل من عنده.
Oh no, what's happened to Soho? Oh no, where will all the reprobates go? Oh no, what's happened to Soho? Oh no.
Alright, oh, it's covered in dog fucking juice. Shut up! Shut up, Mabel. My name's Pete Carson. I'm just a big skateboarding fan. I've always loved skateboarding. Skateboarded all.
They use those drones to track, to target people, and they use those drones also to kill people, including children.
UAV engines is part of Elbit Systems, which that's...
Chauffeur on a midnight drive. Think we're going crazy. Her left eye is lazy. She looks so Israeli.
Opinion, we are higher dimensional beings. You have a higher dimensional family, if that's what you want to call it. I mean, this reality, this life, is a gift, and you have been gave this gift before.
Yesterday, any way you made it was just fine. So you turn your days into nighttime.
Free! Free!
Palestine!
Free! Free!
Palestine!
Shut Elbit down! Shut Elbit down!
Shut up!
It's very obvious from the start that there was a class dynamic. There was a predominant class dynamic to the protests against it, and there was a lack of
We do everything. We wear our press jackets, we wear our helmets, we try to not go to anywhere where it's not safe, we try to go to anywhere where to keep our security, but we have been targeted in normal places where normal citizens...
Sean Allen guy says the Albert acolytes are raging, So again, just a moronic equation that anybody that's got an issue with this is a bigot. If you don't like our rainbow bridge that's getting 300 odd grand of public money being... All right, and I'll tell you what, right, what we need to do, we need to find £300,000 or £400,000 and give it to the film house, give it to the same people that are running the film house that run it to the ground already with public money and made a fucking arse of it.
Say one thing, Nancy, can't understand. Say one thing, Nancy, can't understand. What make them a fight against me ambition? Cause some of them a ask me where me get it from. I told them no know me, I want DJ woman. Bam bam. Say what now?
Come in now with one named Jankro Skank, like Bob Marley tune. Yes, my friend, Lee Perry, and myself and Nine. It's Jankro Skank we come in with now because we started recording that Randy studio and the Mahogany was... Yeah, I want to tell everybody, the whole world, this is the first reggae tune that was done in Jamaica. See? It was done in 19...
You're here with me, it's like a dream. Let the choir sing when you call my name. It's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees.
We knew that this is what Labour were going to do, man. All these people that were going on about like the social credit system in China is coming here and everything, and all the lefties and that, they were all like, oh, these people are tinfoil hat wearers, and these people are like, they love. But apparently it's not a man. Maybe someone can correct me on that, but apparently it's not a man. Apparently she is a woman. Because yesterday, I seen this yesterday. So your rents are going to go up there, and exactly as the laird says, Gorgie Farm will become Gorgie Farmers Market. We will buy some artisan cheese. You used to go there and see a Highland cow, chickens and stuff. Kids would go from the schools. No more kids here now, but you can buy some sort of mackerel compote. Hello. I'm the most reprehensible cunt you've ever met in your life. Will you vote for me? Yes, okay. That's pretty much how it works. We have to look at the structural reasons. So Mackenzie was saying it's the government and the state that are the problem, and if you've got... But then it's important to recognise who are the government and the state.
Therapy is so ill-equipped to handle the current moment. You notice if you go on the subway, if you listen to podcasts, see billboards, all these ads for like better health. Obviously, there's a sense of generalized anxiety and dread.
We live. So last year I know. Catch this. Yeah. 1 year. We build it right in the vineyard, the graveyard. You understand? Yeah. And it's about our culture, herb, lifestyle, Jamaican, black way. So last year. Say down here, say in a jam down. Where I'm from, we don't see no cokehead, no. A straight baby bun, make me tell you this, yes, down here in a jam world. And this rock is, we don't speak English, none at all. A straight part where we talk. Yes, you know if you ask when I touch pan every corner. Is a spliff that in a every mouth corner. And I no coke, I the sense we under. How we smoke so much more time me have to wonder. It's smoked by the police, also smoked by the pastor. Me fi stop smoke it, I go cause a disaster. Hey. You know see, say we them want defeat, how we them want fi conquer. About a pity, they don't know what herbs are cool down me anger. I know want to spend the rest of my life like no gangster. The youths are the future, so I turn them in a monster herbs heal, but all over the answer. Yes, I in a jam down. Where I'm from, we don't want see no cokehead, no, a straight weed we burn. Let me tell you this, yes, I don't, yes, I in a jam one.
Tulski, Rhythm Challenge, Diseases, Mad, Mad, Mad. Here we go.
From His Majesty, Tiffany get the authority to run the dance on party. I saw there's something to it. Do it, Jack. Coming from the north in the face to the south. Here's some DJ, them up the north, them out and we run go yard. In a this yard dance and we run go yard. In a this yard dance and when you, listen and the when you, listen the when you, listen to the when you, when I am reporting from the front line. They look like mankind, I don't condemn mine. But I don't find them like them can't read the sign. A certain kind of outcome thing we don't time.
But them put up on the children. You must be careful what you teach them. Because we don't want to hurt them. Yes, we come to protect them. Culture me vote, me promote. Press the remote, cause the teacher they both. Just sing the note, cause the melody of note. The people want to hear the music and antidote.
Wicked things are gone, evil things are gone. Tell the kids to shoot up to school and keep calm. Wicked things are gone, evil things are gone. Tell the kids to you them just cool and keep calm. Every day them get up and a pop them corn. Tell daddy Scotty me say what's going on. What you gonna do when soldier men swarm? What you gonna do when they come swarm? Man, you gonna blow away like the storm. All over the world is peer war going on. We see it in Afghanistan, Pakistan, just in Israel and Palestine. Computer age is at the computer age, I'm tell them. Computer age is at the computer age, yes. Computer age is at the computer age. Call lyrics nowadays not even right from page.
It's Diseases.
Morning. Good morning. I've got my Wendy's all mixed up. Who have we got here? Hello, innocent children. Morning. Morning, Bob. Morning, a wrath of a bounty of mornings. Hit the like button, people, I agree. Smash that like. Morning, morning, morning. Jolly mornings to you all. Hope you're all dandy. Does anybody care about Macs? Not as in Macs, like Apple Macs. I mean, like, why is my Windows? Something's going on with my Windows. Why have I got like two? Oh wait, I see. If I right, I've sorted it. Panic over. Didn't know you could do that. Morning, everybody. Oh, there's somebody in the old X. Isaac Thompson, morning to you as well. Right, I will. Where would I be without yous? Where would I be without yous? Oh, that's the wrong one. Welcome to What the X. Friday morning. Good morning, Doreen. Doreen Milne. I need to start giving you like rewards for long time Xing. Personal streamer shit. Do you notice anything different about me today? Do you notice anything? Let me know if my levels are too wild. Did you like the video at the start there? That's Kojin, that's my mate Boogie, Port Antonio. I filmed it on my iPhone. It's pretty cool, eh? He's an amazing guy. And followed by that was, yes, my hair. I tell you what I need to do actually. I need to give Alexandra Lucia a plug, because if you want your locks lobbed as marvellously as this, then check out Lucy, Alessandra Lucy, for a hairstylist and creative direction. But she's super cool. I'm not as... Look at all these cool people she works with. She does all this great stuff. Admittedly, I didn't get as much star treatment as this. But I would highly recommend, if you're looking for a very cool person to chop your locks, Alessandra Lucy. There's no a picture of her there, although that's her there. Is that her? It doesn't let me. Never mind. Anyway, there you go. That's the promo one's supposed to do, isn't it? When you've I forgot to add her in my story thing yesterday, so thanks Lucy. Thanks for the old lobbing. Right, well, what are we up to today then? Is everyone excited? It's Friday. That means it's Saturday tomorrow. Although in fairness, Matty says that ship's sailed long ago. It's one less thing to worry about though, bro. And I get the impression that you're pretty good with the beard oils and that, and it would take me about 2 years to grow a beard. If I've never done it, I don't know, it's like after 3 days I sort of just have like sort of Jakey Fox face like, but I've never managed to grow a beard. Beards, eh? I mind when they started coming back in, it was kind of weird. All the young guys, they were like, it was quite funny, like all the young guys that were like young but had a beard. It's like, I can grow a beard, it makes me look older. It's like, nah, you just look like a young guy, a really young guy with a beard. My face is basically upside down though. Orwellian fiasco. Look, this is what I love about What the X. It's like the continual name changing. The lucky dip nomenclature. Orwellian fiasco. What is it? Of pure hypocrisy. Is that what you've written? Let me see. DMT for the masses, not for the few. I could not agree more. I genuinely mean this. I'm very much of the McKenna school. DMT is not a drug. It's endogenous, it's in it, we have it in us. It's in the human body. It's part of the fabric of our very existence. It's a neurotransmitter. It's in us. It's in our being bodies. We have it. So how can it be? How can it be a Class A substance? Well, we know why. Because they don't want people to know about it. They don't want people getting down with the DMT problem. No, seriously, I think that every living being. See, one of the problems with DMT is traditionally it's a very acrid smoke. It's quite a strange smoke. It's not a particularly pleasant substance to ingest. So it kind of, as McKenna would say, it kind of favoured the sort of expert hash smoker, or that, you know, the sort of well-versed, well-travelled toker, where you had leather lungs. But now you can vape it, and they actually sell it, like people sell it as vape pens and stuff, which is probably, I mean, I don't know how healthy that is or isn't, but it's certainly, there's this guy called Minty Love, right? I'll show you. In fact, it's hilarious, right? Because he's like John Noakes or something. He's like a sort of 70s Blue Peter presenter, and he gives all these tutorials on how to smoke DMT via how to vape DMT with like vape palette stuff, all the stuff that you get for vaping in the vape shops. I'll have a wee look from it now just for a minute, right? Look, there's no agenda here. I can do what I want. We can all do what. By the way, she's done a good job in my locks. She's cut my hair well. I thought she'd done a good job at it, because normally I'm a bit like, if you chop my hair too short, I end up looking like a choir boy, and that's not really the look that I'm particularly going for, like, you know. Where's this guy? Let me find this. Let me see if I can find it. He's still here. Okay, let me see if I can find one of his videos. The most recent one was 7 months ago. It's his voice. It's just got this brilliant, almost like sophomoric kind of voice. Like, I'll just choose one. I'll just pause this a second, right? Let me just. Hold on a second.
There's a small hole here.
Oh, that's wait a second. Let me see if I find one that's like.
Hi, folks. Hope you're all well.
Yeah, this is the sort of vibe of this guy. Let me bring it over here. Is that wise? Can I do that? Is that a bad idea? Hold on a minute. I don't take it anymore. Let me just put this on just for the sake of it. Right, here he is. Oh wait, that's me. Where is he?
Hi folks, hope you're all well. As regards vaping tools, I'm a long-term fan of the machine, but browsing around the DMT Nexus forums one day, I came across a new method using a type of electronic vaping machine, and it's called the Direct E-Mesh, or the Shanty Vape, after one of the Nexus members that put a lot of work into it, and being hailed as a revolution in cost effectiveness and efficiency. And to be honest, if half of what's being said about this is true, then I'm wondering why it isn't more commonly being spoken about. So I'll include the link for that thread in the description. Now, I've looked into this method. It's still in early days, but so far I've found that pretty much everything that's being said about on the Nexus post are true. And in fact, there are other advantages to it that haven't been mentioned there. So what I'll try and do in this video is show you the basics of how it all works, and hopefully we can get this method out to a wider audience.
Well, hopefully.
First thing we'll need for this then is a vape mod box.
One of these my things.
And you can think of this as a vape machine body.
Right, anyway,
so any heating coils or mouthpiece. So we just screw that on. This is one that I'm taking out. I'm not entirely happy with it. It's a bit ropey. But there we have it. We're all ready to go. We just want one quick press of the machine to make sure it's in the right mode, and it is. Temperature control stainless steel, 204 degrees centigrade. And then we're all ready to go, which is just a case of putting this to your lips, pressing the button, breathing in for 10 seconds, holding it, and believe me, you'll be away. So, what's this like to use? When inhaling, there's almost zero taste. There's almost no smell either, and it certainly is not harsh in the least bit. It's extremely easy to inhale a huge dose in one toke, with none of the usual discomfort telltale signs that you're used to. On my first go, I was absolutely convinced that the element wasn't heating up, and at the end I was looking at the display on the mod box, trying to figure out what was wrong with it. It's really important to start off with a small quantity and work up. And also I found that pure white crystals from a Gordo Tech extraction to be vastly more powerful than the yellow stuff from a typical ATB extraction. I tried 20 milligrams of yellow and it was about right. It was still quite powerful, but right. A bit later I tried the same weight of pure white crystals, and it was one of these trips that I was wondering whether I'd overdone it. It just got absolutely insane. Now, nothing with this is only one toke is used, meaning that.
Right, anyway, you get the vibe with Minty Love, right? And he's got a whole bunch of videos on his channel where he explains in great detail how to put these different... I mean, that was one of his... I think that was his early video, and it's like... I'll put it in the chat. I'll share it so you can look at his channel, and it gives a whole bunch of details as to how to get off your scone with DMT, basically. But the reason why it's the reason why it's the reason why it's worth checking the vibe is because this is what makes it accessible for most people, because previously it was AMSR tastic, 204 degrees to go meet the elves, gone for 5 minutes, away for a lifetime. Shep must be the happiest Doug. Shep's not a Doug John, that's what they want us to think through. No, the whole the vibe with them vaping it, I've not done it, I've not vaped it, but it's all the rage. And it does. It's the easiest way to do it now. So there's really no excuses. It's the salvation of the humankind. So basically, the vibe is, though, if you've not done it, there's nothing really to be scared of. I saw that somebody put Aaron says, I haven't tried DMT yet. Doreen is having a chuckle. Rona says, me either. Too much of a scaredy cat. 2 acid trips went tits up earlier this year. Yeah, and all I would say about that is just, as Minty Love would say, now then, we don't want to confuse our substances. You don't want to really Dub Friday to DMT Friday. Dub and DMT Friday it is. There's nothing to be. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of, and it's not like LSD, and it's not like psilocybin. It's something different. It's altogether different. It's the revelation. There's no. It's impossible to explain. It's impossible to explain, but rather do it than don't. McKenna made that point, didn't he? That he was like. He felt that people who hadn't, well, he felt that generally, if you hadn't had a psychedelic experience in your life, it was akin to not having a sexual experience in your life. We'll leave that to individuals to decide whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? But I know what I would rather go through life, knowing that I had achieved. It's like, But I definitely think now with the it's almost like the democratization of DMT. That's what the vapes have done. So there's no excuses, but there's nothing to be afraid of as such. IMHO. Not at least the first time that you dive in. After that, that's a different matter altogether. But anyway, thanks for sending me down that little rabbit hole there. I suppose we should try and have a look and see what's going on. Or maybe I can't even be bothered. Do we even want to open that device? I'm looking for my other window here. Mad to think you used to be able to buy shrooms and crate them up Coburn Street for a tenner. Coburn Street was great when we were growing up, wasn't it? Coburn Street was great. It was a real youth high. It was as close to Camden as Edinburgh ever got. But it was cool, man. They've carved all that out. If you speak to any young people, in the town, you know how I'm always going on about the town and that. When you speak to any young people, they're just like, there's nothing to do. And it's true, they've completely captured the city centre. It's been completely turned into a commerce zone for tourists. There's literally nothing for young folk to do up the town. There's nothing in this city. It is a disgrace. Talking about things that are a disgrace, I went to a meeting of the People's Story campaign last night. That's making progress. But I would encourage everybody to get on board with the Save the People's Story campaign and really focus on this fact that, you know, we don't, the building in the old toll booth is in the common good, and we didn't want them taking that building away. We don't want them. They want that building for their own nefarious ends to give to their pals, and we need to put a stop to this. We can only put a stop to this if we build pressure. If enough people are like, nah, we're not into this. We're sick and tired of this. The council are the enemy of the city. This is a mad situation that we're witness to, and we need to make a point about it and do something about it. So, just anybody that's not already got on board with that campaign, try and get on board with the Save the People's Story campaign. Support Jim's work and everybody else that's involved in it. We're all trying to do a wee bit, you know. We're all trying to do a wee bit. Power begins at home. What was your last experience like? Friday, 10:23 in the morning. Ask me that question another time. We'll talk about that another time. But by and large, it's a very, very important experience to have, in my opinion. Send me some. This is a public forum, Matthew. Right, okay, let's have a look. I almost don't want to look in here this morning. It was like somebody sent me a message this morning and said, how's your work-life genocide balance going? I was like, yeah, that's about the size of it. It's all a bit grim, but, you know, we're in the right place. Find out what's happened to the Greyfriars Bobby and other salacious gossip. Oh, it's that half an hour. I like this. I like the raft of interest in it as well. This was something that I noticed. I think this in the wake of the Chris Kaba killing. I haven't paid a huge amount of attention. to the Chris Kaba situation. But he was actually, I mean, is this what it's about? there seems to be a whole bunch of racism experts. Do you know what? Right, I'm going to look into something because I haven't had the time to look at it, so I'm just going to do it while you're all just here. We're all here together. Anyway, what was this that I was talking about? Yeah, that was this. You've got this, whoever this person is, presenter on Talk, and that's what she said. Politics, irreverency, offbeat interviews, truth, cider. Even more stuff if you click that. Alex Phillips, I don't know who this person is, I've never seen them before. She seems to have a sizable following. It's dropped. Oh, she's sitting there with Farage. So these are the two experts on racism. So I kind of immediately was like, you know, and it does nauseate me a little bit when you get kind of, you know, middle-class white people telling everybody about racism. Like, oh yeah, dear our friends in the Caribbean, we've had a look at history and we can recommend that you ask for reparations from Benin, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, blah blah. Meanwhile, given Britain led the way in ending slavery, spending an astonishing 40% of our entire national budget in 1833 to buy freedom of slaves, blah blah. So but basically this is this vibe that it's a commonly trotted out line that the British sort of found some great, you know, the folk that pioneered blowing from the gun in the Empire suddenly found some soft spot and decided that they would end slavery on humanitarian grounds. This isn't true, is my pish. It's not true. Eric Williams wrote the definitive work on this. It's an amazing book and I'd recommend anybody read it. It's a very academic book, but it's a brilliant book. I read it last year, or the year before last. It's called Capitalism and Slavery, and he very meticulously details why the ending of slavery had nothing to do with the humanitarian story that's been woven into the national consciousness. It was much more to do with capitalist interest, and slavery was actually ended. The slave trade was ended because it was no longer profitable to sections of British capital, and they broke it up because they wanted to expand into other markets. And Eric Williams, who actually became the Prime Minister of Trinidad, he's a really fascinating guy. He studied in England. He was like a sort of Oxbridge guy, sort of guy, you know. But really interesting book. One of the most interesting books I've ever read, to be honest. And I just kind of attempted to summarise it in this tweet to this over this person, but it just kind of annoys me. I wanted to see what that. There seemed to be a lot of reaction. I've not really followed it, right? But the cops killed that guy, and then the cops inevitably got away with it or got let off. And then because the guy was a bit of a dodgy boy or whatever, it's like suddenly this is being used to justify the fact that the police executed him. And then there's this kind of dismissing people in the black community that feel, you know, whether because perhaps undoubtedly with the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff, there's opportunism. Any groups like this are subject to opportunists and those that are going to exploit them to their own ends. But it doesn't mean that, you know, people in black mixed race communities or minorities or otherwise aren't subject to intimidation, fear, and anxiety from the authorities and the police. That, you know, and it's not you know, exclusive to those communities. I'm going to change the track that I was going to play out on to a track that I actually produced. I actually wrote a remix of a track that Super 4 did from Trojan Sound System, and it's about Charles de Menezes. It's called Shoot to Kill Policy. But Beldam Lascar makes the point. It says Jean-Charles de Menezes jumped a barrier in a puffer jacket. That was enough to legitimise his execution. Totally. And I just wondered, did I see that Jim Spence said something that kind of annoyed me about it as well? Morning, Leslie, nice to see you there. Where's my... I just find it pretty obnoxious when you get these blowhards telling folk about what their experience should or shouldn't be, how they should interpret their experience of racism. It's like, you don't care what you're talking about. It's pretty arrogant. They ended slavery because it was holding back development. There was a movement on Christian and humanitarian reasons, but it was economic reasons slavery ended. Yes, that's what I've come to learn as well. And Roots Home correctly says still moving towards the ending of slavery. I did think it was interesting that sugar being one of the primary commodities that was extracted, you know, that they enslaved so many people to work in the plantations, you know, in the sugar industry, and then they kind of enslaved the entire planet with sugar. So it was, I always thought it was interesting from plantation to mentation, you know. And then I need to check, but basically that's what kind of happened, isn't it? Because we're all completely addicted to sugar now, the entire. And then that makes us all ill, and then the pharmaceutical industry mop up there as well. So it's like, basically we're fucked, right? That's the long and short of it. It's tempting to wake and bake, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I wanted to look at. Where is he? Jim Spence. Because I saw something. I don't know whether it was... Hold on a minute. Let's just get a look at what Jim Spence is, the grand Dundonian mastermind, Jim Spence. What is he saying here, right? As actual racism recedes, the chancellors and grifters who make a living out of it increase in inverse proportions, with few marketable skills to earn a real living. They are happy to stir up hatred and discontent. They are a clear and present danger to a racially harmonious society. Right, does anybody else want to join in the thoughts? Where's his evidence for racism? What is this? This is bourgeois delusionism, isn't it? What? I wonder how much, apart from being slagged for being ginger, which I slagged him for the other day, which is sort of like, you know, it's like a separate category of racism, right? It's like a Scottish category. It's like, what is Jim an expert in? What are folk saying? Are folk all agreeing? This is about intersectionality. This is so relevant. Somebody says something here which is probably give me the confidence of an old white man talking about actual racism receding just weeks after thugs tried to trap asylum seekers inside a hotel and set fire to it. Says a white racism expert. I'm inclined. Nobody hates the nauseating, attention-seeking narcissism of woke identitarian pish more than me, right? But I'm also acutely aware that racism is a real and present danger and on the rise in a substantial form, but in an extremely disturbing form, to be honest. And for this blowhard to slaver out this just confirms, you know, like, what does this muppet on looking out over the Silvery Tay You know, looking at the third division fucking results and what does he know about racism? What does he know about the experiencing racism and prejudice at a systemic level? I'll guarantee you he kens fuck all about it. So, you know, there's things that Jim Spence says and does that I think are alright, and he's done something, but increasingly I just see him as a teapot, like, you know? Imagine saying something like that. What the fuck do you know about racism? Like, what's the metric that Jim Spence has to tell us all that racism racism's on the decline of racism, as according to Jim Spence, like, you know? Nah, not buying that. Did he not write something? Oh, that's why I came looking. I thought I'd seen that he'd written something. Just folk in their bubbles, like, you know. Okay, this is the whole thing. So Jim Spence is so let's look at the account, right? That he's retweeted, right? It's a. So the account that Jim Spence has chosen, immediately as soon as I saw it, I'm suspicious of it, right? It's called The Black Opinion, right? So this is how I think when I look at X disinformation or something, right? So you look at this account, it's called The Black Opinion, right? Well, it's quite a sort of it's an authoritative position to be. So you would expect if somebody's going to be presenting a black opinion, that will have some kind of identifiable individual that is purporting to represent the black opinion. But you can see already from the image that this is an AI avatar, right? So it's just an image of something. So it's already an anonymous account. So you're immediately suspicious, right? So it's like this is clearly not the black opinion that I would be, you know, thinking is a black opinion that I was going to be definitely interested. Anyway, so let's have a look. So then you click on it and it's like, okay, we've got this, right? Fair enough, okay. But then there's opinion black, right? Okay, that's what is the handle. There's no other information that's easily identifiable on it. Then it's got a different perspective on the Chris Kaba, that he was, so a hypothesis that that the gun that he had or something that he would have used on other black youth. Okay, you can make that argument. But then you go to the top of the page and it's a defense of Trump. So how confident are we in this account, The Black Opinion, to be an account that we would want to suggest as an account that's presenting ideas or information that we would be keen to trust the veracity of, to say? I would be a bit more sceptical about that. So maybe it's just backing up your confirmation bias, right? But this guy's, maybe he's got this is an actual black man that's got an opinion about it, and people are going to say stuff about Chris Kaba. What is this guy saying? Defending a violent, gun-toting black gangster who likely made the lives of other black people a misery are disgracing themselves on an epic scale. So it's become a kind of racial football. But it's backing up Jim's confirmation bias, right? Look, there are black people that say this, right? Okay, fine. But I'm not so sure. I don't think that. Although I have to say, I didn't thought that, but there seems to be a kind of justification that, like, he was a bad man, so he deserved to be killed. The team who took it all away. Laura Shepherd Robinson book Blood and Sugar is great and explains it, yes. Anyway, we're not going to solve racism this morning on What the X, but something's just bothering me, eh? What have we got here? Alright, okay, this annoyed me. Do you remember when the Euros was on and Swinney and Flynn and Robertson were all out there continually getting attention every day, in between saying that they were concerned about Palestine, and they were in between taking photo shoots of themselves in pubs with pints and kilts on and that. Well, we paid for it. We paid 24 grand for them to have a jolly in Germany or wherever it was. Was it Germany? That was nice, eh? Not that we didn't know that. I mean, it's a pretty standard reactionary hit piece, isn't it? Look at how much, look at what shite they've spent your money on now. But it did annoy me because they're such contrived arseholes, these people. So, John Swinney is quite an interesting character, isn't he? Well, he's not an interesting character, but he's definitely right up there with, on the narcissism stakes. He's enjoying this role that he's crafted for himself as kind of like, you know, dignified statesman, noble statesman. It's just pathetic. It's like a sort of... He's like a fucking shithead master from a shit fucking school, you know? The Glasgow Times. Let's have a scan at the Glasgow Times. Angry dad chased daughter's ex-boyfriend with hammer and smashed his car. Ball bag, the first chance I get, you're getting it. Read more here. We'll retweet that then. Aye, Glasgow. There's never quite like Glasgow, eh? Operation T-shirt. Operation T-shirt wasn't just at the Euros. It was 4 weeks of looking like erasure. Why do I know exactly what you mean by that? I know exactly what you mean by that. There we are. Private hire drivers have licence bids rejected due to council policy. I tell you, that is one thing. Both Edinburgh, I presume Glasgow Council's the same, but they're really hardcore on their private hires. You know, they've got very, very strict licensing, and it's kind of just deliberately created. It's quite punitive licensing. It's just to make things as difficult as possible for people that run these private hires and charge them through the roof. If they've got a wee scratch on their motor, they don't let it pass. You know, they're absolutely hardcore with them. The amount of stories that I've heard from cab drivers where they've been, they do not give them an inch. He began to experience alcohol withdrawals and took the decision to steal alcohol from the store. Standard Ouija excuse. Shopkeeper attacked for trying to stop theft of Buckfast by masked thieves. This is obviously Scotland's alcohol minimum price policy working. Alcohol theft goes through the roof. Like, what a mental country this is. What about, I still can't really get over that woman going, we've saved thousands of lives, with a straight face. Bonkers. We've already done that on. This is my... Oh, okay, I see this. We're in the thought for the day. Fuck Israel, alright then. I'll give Daniel a retweet on that. Couldn't agree more with that. Oh, let's just careful with this. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's almost like you can't avoid it, you know? Ferryman's house Giga Daily Hebrides. That's very pretty, isn't it? Let's have a look at George Galloway's conversation. I noticed that people were lauding him for it, so let's have a wee look. There's Loki giving it the endorsement. Let's have a wee look. I'll just mute the old dub for a second. In fact, I know what I need to do here before I do that. I need to raise my volume. Right, let's have a listen to Georgie boy. I have got a new hair, do I? Thanks for noticing. Sorry, we discussed this earlier. Let's see what George is saying. Oh, it's 7 minutes 34 seconds. Oh, well, let's have a listen anyway. Let's have a look.
Why is it significant?
Well, it's the beginning of a new world, I think. It's the Bretton Woods of the 21st century. It's the beginning of new financial, economic, and even political structures which will greatly influence the lives of the vast majority of the population. Probably not ours in Britain. We'll be quite late to the party, I think. But given that half the world is already in BRICS, that BRICS already is bigger than the G7, the so-called giant seven economies, it's axiomatic that our children and children on board.
Axiomatic, self-evident, if you were wondering.
Are going to feel the benefits of Kazan 2024.
Ukraine might see this very differently, of course. You say influence the lives of people. Russia's influencing the lives of Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, I knew, because you're Sky News, that's what you have to ask. But you and our governments, the governments of the West, are wholly responsible for the crisis in Ukraine.
Russia's not responsible.
You're too young to know. But in
Didn't Russia invade Ukraine?
You're too young to know, but in 2014, the West, including our country, overthrew the elected president of Ukraine and set in train a civil war.
Ukraine?
I'm here to talk about the BRICS. If you want to talk about the BRICS, we can.
Isn't that all fine?
You just bumped into me in the corridor. I think, graciously agreed to talk to you, but don't try and put me on trap. Okay?
I'm just asking you questions,
No,
following up your answers.
Yeah.
Are you supportive of the war in Ukraine?
What are you looking for, a gotcha? I have spoken.
It's just a simple question. Are you supportive?
Well, it's a simple question with a simple answer. I have adumbrated my view on Ukraine in millions of words over the entire period.
Word, yes or no?
No, there's no one-word answer to it.
Good for you, George.
I have extensively written, spoken in Parliament, out of Parliament, on the crisis in Ukraine. You're welcome to consult it.
So you can't say that you
I presume you know how
don't
to.
support
I
it.
presume you know.
Are you
how
supportive
to
or not?
Google. How dare you ambush me with these trial questions? I'm here for the. It is an ambush. It is an ambush.
You didn't think I'd want to ask?
7/8 of your questions have been about my attitude to Ukraine. This is an international conference of some importance. And I'm here because half the world is here. You don't care about that. You care about your cheap Murdoch tabloid agenda. And that's probably, I know he doesn't, but you're trained in the Murdoch School of Journalism. And everyone watching already knows that. So
we've never crossed paths.
I have extensively expanded on my views on Ukraine, and I tried to give you the short version. In 2014, Western governments overthrew in a violent coup the elected government of Ukraine. I should be asking you the question, why did Sky News support that violent, illegal coup? Because that's the origin of all the disaster that has overtaken Ukraine.
How about Vladimir Putin's comments to the violence in the Middle East should end? Isn't that a bit rich, given that he's currently waging war in Ukraine?
What a take. Do you know that even your audience wants an end to the violence in the Middle East? Even your audience wants that? But you have to twist that.
Shouldn't there be end to violence all
You
over the
have
world?
to twist that into an attack on Russia in Ukraine. Why don't we talk about Palestine? Why don't we talk? Why don't we talk about the genocide in Gaza? Why don't we talk about the illegal bombardment of Lebanon? Why don't we talk about mass starvation? Why don't we talk about the ethnic cleansing on a scale not seen since the Second World War? Why do you have to talk about it in relation to Ukraine? I'll tell you why. You came here with a cheap agenda to attack Russia. But here's a point.
Sky News is covering all of those topics in those locations.
Here's a point.
I am the Moscow correspondent. That's why I'm covering Russia and Ukraine. And my question to you is, do you call for an end to the violence in Ukraine?
Of course.
Yes or no? Right.
Of course.
So you don't
just
support
like the
war in
BRICS
Ukraine?
did. Just like the BRICS
So you
did.
don't support
I've
the war?
told you that I have spoken on Ukraine. If you were a journalist of any note coming to interview me, you'd already know my views, extensively revealed over 2 years and millions of words. You asked me about the Middle East. In the Middle East, there is a Holocaust going on. Even your audience considers it as such. Yet you want to condemn the call by the BRICS yesterday for seeking an end to that Holocaust? You twisted it in your very Sky News way into an attack on Russia in Ukraine. Why can't you compartmentalize in your mind for a moment that a Holocaust that is condemned by all right-thinking people was condemned by the BRICS here yesterday?
There's no condemnation of Ukraine.
Actually, there was a call by the BRICS for negotiated ending to the Ukraine war.
In the 43-page communique.
Well, it was mentioned once, but it was mentioned. It's a significant
One more
statement.
question, if I may.
Are you sure?
The US says North Korean troops are in Russia receiving training, and the fear is they'll be deployed to Ukraine to join Russian forces there on the battlefield.
I would have thought that was a fairy story. First of all, I'm not sure the North Korean forces need trained by anybody. North Korea has one of the most fearsome armies on the planet. And I think Russia has no need of North Korean troops. I think it's another cheap tabloid smear.
If it were to happen, if they were to be deployed there?
If my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Let's leave it there. George Gallo, thank you very much.
What is amazing is that this tyranny called Russia has you wandering around the corridor smearing Russia. That is quite something. You wouldn't get a Russian journalist walking around in Whitehall. That wouldn't be allowed, would it?
That's the point, isn't it?
Well, yes, it certainly was. Man, he had balls, she'd be my uncle. Right, okay, I see what the fuss is about, right? Well done. Fucking... reminds me of that Lemmy yes or no sketch. Yes or no, yes or no, yeah, totally. Galloway's full of contradictions. I'm not going to dispute that. He's a great speaker and fascinating, but he's horrible. I used to know him, says Katrina Grant. I've not. He's not the sum of. We're not the sum of our parts. There's plenty of things that Galloway's said and done that's that are. But then on the question of Gaza, I think we're kind of past the point. You know, we're post politics. We're into populist kind of nonsense and just craving opportunism. I think if somebody's going to advance a position, a humanitarian position, fundamentally, we have to. The old saying, you know, you can only piss with the cock you've got, you know. So it's I think we have to recognise that Galloway may be a rather let's not get into the cock analogy with Galloway, right? But basically, I think you know, I think his position on Gaza has been honourable, and when we look at the willful you know, the willingness for people to turn a blind eye to it. This is the stain on our existence, you know. So that was brilliant. that was pretty funny. He's 100% right on Gaza and Lebanon. The interviewer is rubbish, yes. The way he just utterly rejects the premise framing is something everyone could learn from. Yeah, there's a lot of the whole interview technique thing, kind of getting corralled into a particular worth watching for that. Boy George and George Galloway are morphing into one another. I like that we've still got the... It's annoying because he speaks well, but dressed up like a cat in a leotard and licked his hand on the TV, for fuck's sake. Yeah, but we're kind of... That's what, you know, it's all relative, isn't it? Because, you know, with Trump being there and the vulgarity of Trump kind of set the precedent for a political landscape where there's no dignity, there's no integrity. It's just full of bizarreness and opportunism. Clatty Bella's towel says he's a good laugh. To be fair, there's something in that, isn't there? That this is what we've got. Is, you know, we've got at least we got a laugh as the world burned. Let me just see if I can find something here. Well, once again, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Aye. He was all over Jimmy Savile when he entered the house. What was George Galloway friending up Jimmy, was he? Jesus. Okay. Right, well, I'm in two minds here. Massively, practically licking his boots, dearie me. Well, that's a kind of facet of politics as well. Katrina says he's a weirdo, a clever one, and very erudite. But he's a clever weirdo. I must admit that's always been my position on him. That he had that kind of fabulous oratory and that great grasp of language. But that it can be a technique, and Galloway does display that. But I think just on this issue of Gaza, if you didn't check out Wizard Bazan's post last night, what's this person saying? It's different when it's happening right in front of us. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Wizard Bazan put up a post last night. What they're doing in the north of Gaza is despicable. It's absolutely despicable. This post that she put up, I'm not going to play it just now, you can find it yourself and listen to it. It's a 7-minute piece of reportage. At least he's not selling magic amulets like Brand. Yeah, I guess that's true, but the problem with Brand is that Brand was he never really had the political cognition, I don't think. I think he wanted to move into that area. I think he wanted to challenge structures and look into them. I think he's got an interest in mind, the way that he recognises the system, if you like, one way or another. But I think he's gone into his own realm now. There's not much I can relate to with what he's up to these days. It is a hard watch. It's definitely a hard watch. I'm not. We should all watch it. I've watched it. I've listened to it. But this is what I'm saying, you know, he's very good at speaking out about imperialism, so I'll give him that. Well, but yeah, I think we don't really have the luxury, you know, we don't have 50 Tony Benns or someone to listen to, or, you know, they've all gone. We need to figure out new ways of raising consciousness, the first of which being tuning into Minty Love's YouTube channel and figuring out how to vape D&T. That would be my advice. Will I play out on this because it's topical, or will I play out? No, I'm just going to play out what I was going to play out on. I'll play out on that another time. We'll keep it a bit lighter. If you follow me on X, actually like and subscribe. Join the Patreon. I will be updating all that imminently. And if you follow me on X, I'm going to put a DM thing on my X for this forthcoming campaign information. Although most of it will remain for public consumption. I'll be back on Monday at 10 AM. But I will be on the Intersphere over the weekend in various forms. Right, I'm going to leave you with a track. I think I mixed this. I produced some of it. It was with it's a while back, but it was with Capital 1212 and Daddy Scotty. It's called Move Like Robot, and we'll catch you all on Monday. I'll catch some of you on Monday. Cheers for tuning in to What the X this morning. People, have a great Friday and a fabulous weekend. Ciao. We'll catch you all on Monday. I'll catch some of you on Monday. Cheers for tuning in to What the X this morning. People, have a great Friday and a fabulous weekend. Ciao.
Cheers for tuning in to watch what the X this morning. People have a great Friday and a fabulous weekend. Ciao.
Right. I've come back. Hold on a second. What's going on with that? Right. I didn't care what's going on with that. I'll tell you what, I'll leave you, maybe it's a sign then. I'll leave you with this. I don't know why that never works. That's twice it's done that. I don't care why it's done that. Here's another track. This is a track I produced many years ago. It features Daddy Scotty and the late Natalie Hendry and Super 4. It's called Shoot to Kill Policy. I'm still here. I'm going away now. Have a nice weekend. Ciao.
A victim of their shoot to kill policy. It ain't nothing but a fallacy. Then with your apology. Urban terror. You take a life and claim it's just a small error. A victim of your shoot to kill policy. It ain't nothing but a fallacy. Then with your apology. Urban terror. You take a life and claim it's just a small error. Randomly people die innocently. Babylon bust them gun indiscriminately. Normally on the poor community, but recently they give a damn about your ethnicity. They may be handed with them authority. We got the right to fight for a public inquiry. Yeah, them close the case, let them close the curtain. TOP, termination of a person with their shoot to kill policy. It ain't nothing but a fallacy. Tell me your apology. Urban terror. You take a life and claim it's just a small error. A victim of your shoot to kill policy. It ain't nothing but a fallacy. Then with your apology. Urban terror. You take a life and claim it's just a small error.
Them say them intercept the perpetrator, but them go shoot first and ask question later. Go shoot at them gun like them a Terminator. Go pass judgment like them a the creator. Innocent, say the media, them insist. The man a carry weapon, me say man a terrorist. Pure disinformation and the truth I get twist. When the people complain, say them get dismissed.
You shoot to kill gentle menaces. An innocent victim he was known. You see it through the menaces. The same thing with Eric Bennett. For him life who no go in it. The wrong information who send it. Yo, Harry Stanley you shooting him head. Because the man them walking with the jam table leg. You shoot Cherry Kush, you never dead. Ashley in a bed. You paralyze her two leg. A victim of your shoot to kill policy. It ain't nothing but a fallacy. Tell me your apology. Urban terror. You take a life and claim it's just a small error. A victim of your shoot to kill policy. It ain't nothing but a fallacy. Tell me your apology. Urban terror. You take a life and claim it's just a small error. The judge come to court, then the judge take a seat. Here the judge stop it talk, now the judge stop it preach. Now here the Super 4, yes, me make a long speech. The shoot to kill policy proceeds. Yo, the man then get panic and the man then get weak. All the big guns are with the man, them a reach. Them a shoot to kill robber, them a shoot to kill thief. The innocent family a weep. A victim of their shoot to kill policy. It ain't nothing but a fallacy. Tell me your apology. Urban terror. You take a life and claim it's just a small error. A victim of your